Hello all, this is Vignesh. I am pursuing my PGP course in IIM Trichy, Chennai campus. Today I would like to explain a fundamental concept called balance of payment, which is the foundation principle for all trades, currency and the economic health of any country. So today I would like to explain you the concept of balance of payment first and then take you through how India faced this balance of payment crisis post-independence and what is the situation of the BOP as of today. To start the video with, I will give an explanation about what balance of payments is. Balance of payment is a statement which summarizes the overall country's transaction with respect to the rest of the world. This balance of payment is typically taken for a period of 1 year, usually the financial year. So when we say about the transaction with the country, it is more of split into two types. One is the current account, another is called the capital account. Current account basically talks about all trades of goods, services and income which comes from abroad to India in terms of remittances or in terms of foreign aids. When you talk of capital and financial account, this is basically the capital inflow of cash like foreign direct investment and portfolio investment that comes from foreign countries to India. So this is into two categories. And now let's talk about the balance of payment crisis what India faced post-independence. As you are all aware, India was colonized by the British until 1947. And post 1947, after the independence, India started to govern its finances by its own. At the time of independence, India had a lot of sterling balances because of the transaction what we had with the UK at that point in time, which UK has left to us when they left India. So we had used the sterling balances for all the transactions between India and other foreign countries. Post-independence, the focus of Indian government was majorly to have a self-sustained government. For example, since it was a colonized country until that point in time, post-independence, India wanted to have a self-resilience. So they don't want to depend upon other countries for any capital goods or any import of complicated or complex goods. So India started to invest on goods like heavy equipments like steel and iron, like ammunition, like heavy industries. So all these kind of capital intense investments was made in India, for which we imported a lot of equipments and machineries from foreign countries. So all these sterling balances that we had after independence was majorly used for procuring of such kind of capital equipments. While on the other hand, the import was happening through the government requirement. The exports was majorly dependent on things like food exports and other exports, which was very limited. Okay, so we didn't have a lot of exchanges where we are able to earn from the other countries, while we depended a lot on imports. This led to a crisis in 1958, and then later again in 1966 we had one more crisis, which is in 1966, where the currency also was devaluated. So during the time of 1960s to 70s, there was a severe increase in oil prices, which led us to have a significant usage of our export reserve in purchasing of oil from foreign countries. And even at that point in time, India was heavily dependent on imports rather than exports. So our exports at that point in time also was very limited. As you all know, from 1947 almost until 1991, India heavily focused on inside development. For example, we wanted to be self-sufficient, so we did not think too much about exporting to other countries. We wanted to import the raw materials, import the equipment from other countries to build our own capital infrastructure in terms of self-sufficiency. So the exports of goods was very less. So always when the price of oil or price of the import commodities increase, we have to utilize a lot of foreign exchange to meet those demands. So in such situation, when the oil prices increased in the early 1970s, this bill of payment crisis happened again, where India also devalued its currency by almost 37%. Now fast forward to 1989, where we had one more bill of payment crisis, similar to the rise of oil and other import commodities. And in 1991, we again devalued our currency in 1991, and then India also had a similar bill of payment crisis, where again we have to have a lot of imports and exports are very limited. We also got some kind of a strategic adjustment loan, what we call SAL, from the World Bank to self-sustain our foreign exchange reserve. And after 1991, India decided that dependence on only imports will always have a similar kind of situation. So they decided to open up the country, open up the economy for foreign investments. That is when the liberalization happened in 1991, and India allowed direct foreign investments from other foreign countries to India. Now fast forward to now in 2025, the situation has dramatically improved. What we were until 1991 and what we are today is completely different. As of the financial year 24-25, our current account deficit is only about $23.3 billion. It is roughly about 0.6% of the GDP of the country. And the reserve as of the mid of financial year 2025 was roughly about $695 billion. So we have a very large foreign reserve within us, which is roughly about to close to handle even close to 6 to 9 months of foreign expectations from the foreign country. Post liberalization, India started to focus on a lot of service industries where we exported a lot of services, IT services to foreign countries, through which we stabilized our exports also, not only focusing on imports, but we also focused on exports. So like I mentioned, we have focused on IT services, we focused on export of goods like textile, leather, and other basic requirements for the foreign country. So we had a balance of both imports and also exports. Like I mentioned previously, the current deficit is only roughly about 0.6% of the GDP of the country, which is very easy to manage, I would say. So the reserve is also close to $695 billion. So in terms of the cash, reserve cash, what we are able to handle, we have roughly about more than 6 to 9 months of foreign reserve with us to handle any kind of crisis that may occur due to increase of oil or increase of any sudden increase of the global commodity. And apart from the export of services, we also have a lot of remittances. Remittances basically happen when the Indian diaspora of people settle abroad and when they send cash to India in terms of foreign exchange. So when a lot of cash comes from the foreign countries to India, it also improves our forex reserve. And after having passed the, I would say, tough path in the past history, India is also now very conscious to maintain the foreign reserve and is also trying to have a very strict economic policy so that to avoid any kind of foreign-led crisis to impact the economy of India. So from this point of view, we have learned a hard lesson. I would say we have learned a lesson the hard way, so that going forward we don't face such kind of crisis anymore. So now I would say we are in a better position, and any kind of global shocks. Even today, if you know, as I talk now, there is a lot of restriction which is happening on the global trade, a lot of tariffs being imposed by other countries on India, and also the global trade itself is I would say, is very volatile. So in such kind of situations, maintaining a sufficient foreign reserve will always help us, and it will not lead us into any kind of crisis what we faced previously. So this is all I would like to cover up today. Thanks for watching. See you. Bye.